Hello again, friends. I like this outside approach in videoing, and when it's a nice day like it is again today, it's a great chance to be able to film outside and to share some of these things. And I'm continuing to share today the three primary blog articles that I've written to date that tie more directly to this coronavirus. And this is important because it just shares the process of things that I have learned through this. It'll be a documentation really for the way people responded as things have happened and have changed over time through this. But this is the first one that I wrote on 3/14, right at the beginning of what was happening and what I was seeing. And it really impacted me so much that I spent an entire day really studying and researching, which is what I hope many of you have taken time to do. Many different opinions on this, even as we go forward in continuing to reopen, many different ideas. And, some people respond differently, and some people want to be separated because they're afraid. Some people want to rebel and just get together with as many people as they can, as they've done when bars and stuff have opened up, like in Ohio, when bars were opened up and people were shoulder to shoulder, or like with these other protest events that have occurred in states where great numbers of people have gathered. But by and large, this has been a novel viral separation. And I said so at the beginning of what would happen logically if you thought about it. And sure enough, as time has gone on, you see a lot of this being true. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through this, maybe comment here and there. But this was the blog on 3/14/20. Coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19. What do we know? What are we learning? What can we learn for the future? On my Lessons to Learn website, www.vtlessonstolearn.com, and in my 233 plus blog articles, I seek to bring truth and the truth to the table of our thinking and to help as many as will to learn to prevail in this life and, even more importantly, for eternity. The current climate in this country and even around the world has driven me to research and study this subject more and to write this specific blog article. And as I mentioned, I did. I spent at least a day researching online and a lot of time thinking about this before I wrote this. And I'm just going through it now with you after the fact. But and I try to generalize it when I write these things, and I can be more specific in the video and maybe a little more personal here and there. But I'm trying to really put together something that's a one-page quick hit to an issue like this. Despite all the attention, opinions, and information out there and on this novel coronavirus, I have found that there is much ignorance, overreaction, and even misinformation about what this novel coronavirus is and what danger there is to human beings. Boy, hasn't that been true. Living in the United States, where there have been new responses and new reactions that have escalated to the separation of many people, especially demands that I take time to respond to this novel coronavirus threat and the separation it is bringing. Here and abroad, this is leading to a novel viral separation, and indeed it has. When something is novel, it is new. That is the case with this virus, hence the official name for it. So far as we know, it is new to human beings, but not necessarily animals, and has even been quite contagious and somewhat lethal, primarily for those over 80. Which is why there has been such an aggressive response thus far, especially by an older leadership. The response, in fact, has ironically even gone viral, a term we use when something like this response has spread so quickly and even broadly. Now listen, if anything has gone viral, it is this coronavirus. I mean, not just here in the U.S., not just in a local area, but all over the country, all over the world, countries all over the world. 188 countries this is impacted directly. I mean, My goodness, this is a viral thing for sure. The effect has been and is a growing separation. Those infected from most others, rightly so, fans from their sports, students from their schools, individuals from their jobs, voters from their primaries, groups from their gatherings, and even church members from their gathering together with each other. Now, thankfully, we have the churches opening back up, and hopefully most will open up soon, and hopefully the things related to that will improve, as hopefully many have learned lessons, and some have even continued on throughout this as well. But most, it led to a separation from church members with each other. Where will it end? As I ask on 3:14:20. If we are consistent in our safety applications, it will lead to total immobilization, isolation, and even lockdown, as Italy and even Spain are doing at this time, at the time of this writing. And then to an ensuing greater panic and disruption in the supply chain of products and services until there is utter chaos and self-seeking survival. Now, it may not have been quite that bad here, but in places you can see that, and how people riot and how people have protested, but even with the other issue of racism and riot recently and things related to that, you can see how an immobilization and a restriction on people can lead to things getting worse and even chaos if it's not handled correctly or better. At what point will people stop cowering to uncertainties and fears that are not even as statistically as dangerous as other things, like the regular flu virus, other leading causes of death, or even imminent natural disasters, and live their lives in a more normal way again? This is a far greater separation from regular activity than I have ever seen or heard about. This is a novel viral separation. And indeed, it may not be as it has, it has claimed a lot of lives, and it is more contagious than the regular flu virus, but not even as deadly as some flu strains have been. So think about that in relation to the response that we've had and what's been done previously. It is good that many are becoming more conscious of good hygiene and cleaning or disinfecting more, as we really normally should. It will be good if people do learn to be more compassionate and be more considerate for others. And you have seen that a lot. I've also seen some people being really rude and complaining if you didn't have a mask on, as has happened when we've been out shopping and other people, other things. It's a test, like I've said, the perfect test. It reveals where you are, fear or faith, and it reveals whether you're gonna do something you shouldn't, or you're gonna learn from it. As I said here, I trust we will not let this separation go on and so far for much longer, especially with this new or novel virus. And unfortunately, we have longer than I believe we should have, and many others are saying now too. And not one danger is that many will soon see that this is not as bad as most have feared. True for most fear and worry. And that's certainly been true with this virus. The hospitals were never overrun. We never had the amount of cases that they thought we would have. You can claim that that's because of the lockdown or shutdown or mitigation. May or may not be. But certainly it hasn't been as bad. And so that could be bad too, because it could lead to people being more inoculated, as I mentioned here. Now, it's true, as I'll say again, that it may be not as bad as most have feared. True for most fear and worry, because we worry about most things that don't ever happen that we worry about. And not be as careful as they should when there is an even more serious situation. How many more are not now evacuating from imminent natural disasters just because past dangers turned out to be less than predicted? Could it be like the boy who cried wolf? Time will tell, but please do take time to not simply be more sarcastic about any toilet paper or other shortage, and be newly educated and look at the more trusted websites like the CDC and the facts and frequently asked questions about this virus. Now, you really could avoid so much of what I said back on the 14th of March has taken place. And I just really hope that it won't lead to more rebellion and people like during bad hurricanes who just say, I'm going to stay even if the hurricane is powerful and I can make it through it. The media does, and I can too. And they don't take proper precautions, and many lose their lives because of that. Hopefully we will strike the right balance, and you will too, friend. But I say this at the end again, friend. The bad news is that we all are infected with a far more dangerous virus of sorts that has led to 100% infections and a 100% mortality rate. Not an average so far of 3.4% worldwide mortality rate as reported by the WHO for COVID-19, varying by demographic. Now, it's less than that now, we know. 1 to 2% in the U.S. Mortality rate, so way less than what was originally thought. This virus, though, of sin, called sin, is worse than reports from all the other major pandemic viruses in the past 50 plus years, which also only affect limited people. And I looked up these statistics. Ebola, 33,577 cases with a 40.4% fatality. Nipah, 513 cases with 77.6% fatality. SARS, the first SARS, 8,096 cases with 9.6 fatality. And MERS, 2,494 cases with 34.4% fatality. This is way less fatality than all these others that have been worse statistically. This virus leading to all diseases, talking about sin again, this virus of sin leading to all diseases and death will lead to an ultimate separation from our thrice holy God. The only ultimate cure and earthly power over this 100% lethal virus is through trusting in the blood sacrifice of the Creator and Savior Jesus Christ, who was crucified, buried, and rose again to save us from our completely lost condition. And I talk more about this in the series I did at Easter time on the Passion Week of Christ, and you can look at more of what I've said about this too. Do not give in to fear with the coronavirus or the novel viral separation it is bringing, but especially do not delay in receiving the sin cure by simple faith in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. A friend, that cure is available by faith. Are you still fearing more because of this virus, even though maybe not as much as initially, or do you have faith? And where are you spiritually? Are you separated from God? Or are you with Him? Are you in with the I am, as I've also talked about? I hope that this article was helpful to you. Again, written back on and posted on 3/14. And here we are already way past that in June. And we see more of the effects. But don't let this virus cause you to fear or be more separated, but learn to be right with God, to be in with Him, and right with the people around you too. There's more I could say here. There's more I could talk about. I want you to leave some comments for me. Leave some things you want me to talk about. Leave me some things that you're interested in that you think need to be addressed. I'd love to address those things, and I'll continue to address things here. Just subscribe to the channel, like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when another one's posted. And thank you again for watching today.